All right, welcome back everyone. This week, we're putting the SPECTRA AI from the Gambler's Ruin project right under the microscope. We're going to give it a full-on report card for its latest football predictions. That's right, we are cracking open that black box to see where it was a genius and, well, where it just completely face-planted. Let's dive in.
Okay, so here's the headline number right off the top. 66.7%. That's 4 out of 6 predictions correct for the week. Not bad, right? Yeah, you'd think so. On paper, that's a passing grade, a solid B. But trust me, that number does not tell the whole story. It was a week of absolute extremes.
So here's the plan for today. We'll start with the AI's overall report card and look at the easy wins it notched up. And then, we get to the juicy part, the absolute shockers. We'll figure out what went wrong and, most importantly, how they're planning to fix this thing.
Okay, let's get into it. Section 1, Spectra's weekly report card. And like you said, we've got to look way beyond that top-line number to see what really went down.
And wow, this chart right here says it all. I mean, talk about a Jekyll and Hyde performance. Look at this. In the stable, predictable world of English League One football, the AI was flawless, 100%, perfect. But then you chuck it into the chaos of the UEFA World Cup qualifiers and bam, it's basically a coin flip, 50%. It's so clear. The model absolutely loves stability and just completely falls apart with a bit of unpredictability.
All right, let's start on a high note, because when this thing was on, it was on. Let's talk about the predictable wins where the AI looked like an absolute genius.
Okay, you have to look at this Lincoln versus Doncaster game. This is the real standout. It didn't just call the home win. It predicted the exact 2-1 scoreline. That's incredible. And people really need to get how insane that is. I mean, picking a winner is tough enough, but getting the exact score, that's like calling your shot from a mile away. It just shows you how locked in this model can get when the conditions are right.
And this gives us a peek under the hood at why it was so confident. The AI basically ran the match through a simulation, what they call a Monte Carlo, 10,000 times. And after all that, it came back saying Lincoln had almost a 60% chance of winning. Yep, the data was clean, the teams were stable, so the model was confident. And the result? Absolutely spot on.
So the secret sauce here is something called an ELO rating. You've probably heard of it in chess. It's just a constantly changing score for how good a team is. It goes up when they win, down when they lose. Exactly. And in a league like League One, these teams are playing all the time, week in, week out. So their ELO ratings are super reliable, super stable. That's just perfect fuel for an AI like Spectra.
Okay, so we've seen the A+ student. Now it's time to look at the other side of the report card, the F. The shocking upsets. Oh yeah, because when this AI got it wrong, oh boy, it wasn't just a little bit wrong, it was a full-blown disaster.
And I am not even exaggerating. I'm literally reading from the AI's own validation report here. The official description for what happened in the Italy versus Norway match was a catastrophic inversion event, which is just, the most sterile scientific way of saying the model had an absolute total meltdown. It blew a fuse.
And just look at this. The model wasn't just leaning Italy's way, it was confident. Gave him a nearly 58% chance to win at home. Seemed like a safe bet. And what actually happened? A 4-1 thrashing by Norway, a demolition. It wasn't a miss, it was the literal opposite of what the AI predicted, a complete and utter failure.
So you have to ask, how does something go that wrong? Well, the answer is right here on the screen. Injuries. Italy was decimated. Just look at that list of key players out, especially on defense. And that's a classic AI blind spot, right? The machine sees the name, Italy. It sees the history, the ranking, but it completely failed to properly weigh the human element. The real-world context of having your entire backline ripped out should have sent that win probability plummeting, but the model just didn't react enough.
And it wasn't a one-off. The same thing happened with Greece and Scotland. Again, the AI felt pretty good, giving Scotland over a 50% shot to win, even on the road. And again, nope. The chaos of international football just laughed at the prediction. Greece pulls off a 3-2 win. The AI is wrong again. You can see the pattern here, clear as day.
So, we've seen what happened. Now let's get into the why. It's time for the diagnosis. Let's break down exactly what went wrong inside the model.
Yeah, and you got to give them credit. The report doesn't pull any punches. It lays out the failures really clearly. First up, the model totally downplays the impact of a single superstar forward. One guy who can just decide a game on his own.
Right.
It also, as we saw with Italy, doesn't freak out enough about a major defensive injury crisis. And at its core, it's just not ready for the pure tactical chaos you get in these big international matches where anything can happen.
And that first point about the superstar forward, they actually have a name for it in the report, which I love. They call it the Haaland variable. It's perfect, isn't it? It basically means there are some players, like Erling Haaland, who are so ridiculously good they just break statistics. The model thinks goal scoring should follow a nice, neat curve. But a guy like Haaland, he's a glitch in the matrix. He's a walking chaos event that the current AI just has no idea what to do with.
But look, it's easy to just sit here and point out all the mistakes. The whole point of this project is to learn and get better. Exactly. This isn't just a post-mortem, it's a game plan. So let's look at how they're planning to fix this thing for next time.
And the fixes are super specific, which is great to see. First, they're literally adding a star forward coefficient to account for those game breakers, the Haalands of the world. Then, they're cranking up the sensitivity for defensive injuries, so it'll react more strongly next time. They're even adding new parameters for late-game volatility, that crazy period after the 70th minute, and even stuff like bad weather or a hostile stadium.
So when you put it all together, what's the final grade? Well, for the domestic games, it's an easy A, truly elite performance. But for the international qualifiers, man, it's a C- at best. And those huge misses really drag the whole grade down. The final report card for the week comes out to a B-. You can see there's a good engine in there, but its biggest flaws were totally exposed.
And all of this really leaves us with the big, lingering question, doesn't it? You can tweak the code, you can add all the new variables you want, but can an AI ever truly get a handle on the beautiful chaos of football? That magic mix of skill, luck, passion, and just raw human drama? We'll be back next week to see if Spectra gets any closer to an answer. Thanks for joining us.